Predictions of the most probable worst hurricane danger shift to extreme northern Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. This still massive hurricane has knocked out much of the Bahamas and spins tonight toward the U.S. mainland. Nearly 2 million people are told to flee the southeast coast, all the way from Florida to Carolinas. Wind and water kick up a storm surge that could wipe some places off the map, on the same shores where they'll never forget the howling destruction of Hurricane Hugo.
This is the CBS Evening News, with Dan Rather reporting tonight from Savannah, Georgia.
And good evening from historic old Savannah, Georgia. It's a ghost town now. A kind of spooky silence prevails here. What normally would be a very busy part of the tourist section of the city is absolutely nobody here. This is typical of the lower part of the whole eastern United States coast, because there's a hurricane out there 600 miles wide, one that by about midnight tomorrow night could bring especially strong hurricane winds blasting through here. And that's just for starters. In all, more than 2 million people have been told to get out of the way. Here in Savannah, as in so many other South Atlantic coast locations under mandatory evacuation, all roads led out and away to higher ground.
This is the first one that's really scared us.
The struggle to get out got even more intense for those on foot with no cars.
This is chaos. I have no idea what the plan was, but it's not working.
Still massive and ferocious Category 4 Hurricane Floyd is packing 140-plus mile-an-hour winds steadily. While not all of northern Florida is out of the official most dangerous area, most appearances now point to a possible big hit on the Georgia and Carolinas coast after the hurricane comes dangerously close to Florida. Official hurricane warnings are now posted from Boca Raton, Florida, to the South Carolina-North Carolina line. Hurricane watches run from that Carolina line north to the Delmarva Peninsula. Hurricane warnings have now officially been dropped for the Miami-Dade, Florida area. The leading edge of Floyd's fury, a storm twice as big as Florida itself, has approached Florida, where surf and wind started to pound in the late afternoon and is underway tonight. Flights were canceled across the board at Orlando and other airports. Military planes taking off for safer ground. U.S. Navy ships heading out to safer seas to ride it out. Earlier today, Floyd made a heavy hit on the northern Bahamas.
The winds are so strong that there are tree limbs and ceiling tiles and all kinds of other debris that's flying everywhere. It's just not safe to go out.
Looking ahead, hurricane experts repeatedly warned that nobody on the east coast of the United States should ignore this storm.
That is still a very strong Category 4 hurricane. If it's a little bit weaker than it was yesterday, that's a little bit like the difference of being run over by a freight train or being run over by a semi-truck. Neither prospect is good.
President Clinton tonight officially declared both Florida and Georgia eligible for disaster aid in advance. We take you now to the water's edge in Florida, and CBS News correspondents Jim Axelrod and Byron Pitts. First to Byron Pitts, who's on the Florida Space Coast, which is hoping not to get a full direct hit. Byron?
Dan, tonight on the coast, those who wanted to have already moved inland. Those who decided to stay behind have been warned by police tonight, quote, if anything happens to you now, you are on your own. Along the central Florida coast this evening, Floyd is no longer simply a threat. He is a full-fledged promise, due here with deadly intentions Wednesday morning.
This is a mandatory evacuation order, ordered by the governor.
State officials concede they evacuated the barrier islands early in hopes they could ease the last-minute crush to the inland. They failed. The few major roads west are still bumper to bumper. Every line on the coast tonight is a long one.
Give them a cart, load them up.
We're accommodating the customers who've been standing in line since 5 o'clock this morning.
Heading towards Michigan, man. I'm getting out of here.
Those without options headed to shelters.
Is there any family member that's not coming here that you want to have notified?
I don't have anybody.
Oh, oopsie.
This school had 2 guests last night, They'll be full tonight with 300.
They said that the storm was disaster. It was going to destroy everything. So what was we supposed to do, sit there in this path?
A major concern, the Kennedy Space Center, closed for the first time in years. The launch pad, the shuttle hangars are designed to withstand winds of 105 to 120 miles per hour. Floyd is due to hit here at 130.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad.
Bad here, nearly as bad 50 miles inland in Orlando, where for the first time in 28 years, Disney World closed their doors today, and they will not reopen till Floyd is gone. In South Florida tonight, the fear is lessening. For more on that, CBS News correspondent Jim Axelrod in West Palm Beach.
Byron, West Palm Beach is another one of those coastal communities that is empty and eerie tonight. Here, there is nothing left for the people to do but pray they end up as lucky as their neighbors who are even further south. Right now, they are on their sides in South Florida, hoping Floyd doesn't leave them flat on their backs. In West Palm Beach, the shelters are stuffed, and they just keep coming. Have you ever been to a shelter before?
No, no.
So why this time?
Well, it does look kind of scary.
60 miles south in Miami, Beach Deco met Home Depot. They were hoping the plywood wasn't needed, and they got what they wanted, with no regrets about wasted time preparing.
I don't think you can predict where it's going to go. So I think that they're just trying to err on the side of safety, really.
Floyd left Miami's surfers and fishermen alone. The airport is just about shut down, but if that's the worst of it, they'll take it every time.
It's beautiful most of the time here, and it's just one of those things, like up north you deal with the snow once in a while, we deal with hurricanes once in a while.
With those hurricane warnings now dropped for the entire Miami area, the people here in West Palm await what Floyd has in store for them. He is still a monster, and he is still moving. Dan?
The view on the ground in Florida tonight from CBS News correspondents Jim Axelrod and Byron Pitts. To get a sense of where the hurricane may be heading, I talked a short while ago to meteorologist Brian Norcross at the CBS Hurricane Center in Miami. Brian, best estimate, where does this hurricane go from here?
Well, it goes north out of the Bahamas, Dan, and it has devastating effects there in the northeastern Bahamas. And we have to distinguish between the different parts of the hurricane. Right near the center is where the very bad catastrophic damage occurs. And the big question as it moves to the north and tomorrow is near the Florida east coast, central coast, near Cape Canaveral somewhere, is that core just offshore? Is it right over the Cape? Or is it well offshore? In any case, it's going to threaten very closely the Florida coast and then take aim on the Georgia to North Carolina coast, and that is where we expect the potentially catastrophic damage to happen.
How strong is it likely to be?
Well, we don't think it's going to be any weaker than it is now. As you know, it's now nearly 140 miles per hour. We've noticed the pressure dropping again. It's moving over the Gulf Stream, very warm water. And so we think it has a very strong chance of actually increasing some. And then it's going to get caught up in this jet stream moving to the north. And we think it actually has a good chance of maintaining hurricane strength as it gets caught. And let me show you here where this jet stream is, all the way into the northeast. This is in some sense reminiscent of Hurricane Hazel. Back in 1954, there was a tremendous storm all the way up the East Coast.
As then as it finished?
No, because of the fact that it's such a massive storm and the winds are moving so quickly, it has so much energy that it can spin and spin and spin and actually maintain those hurricane strength winds, even if it goes over land all the way to perhaps Pennsylvania, perhaps even New York State. It has happened in the past.
Brian Norcross, thanks. Now, for clarity, here is the forecaster's best guess of where the hurricane may be heading. This huge storm is now expected to slide north right along Florida's east coast, close enough to batter some shore communities with hurricane force winds, but not getting the whole force of the hurricane. The storm's most likely path is now expected to take it ashore somewhere along the South Carolina coast, possibly the northern part of the Georgia coast. What could really make it a killer is the storm surge, what used to be called a tidal wave. As a hurricane moves over the ocean, it lifts the water higher than normal, much higher. Then, as the eye moves ashore, it pushes this giant wave along, inundating homes and anything else in its path, possibly as far as several miles away from beaches. This hurricane remains a powerful Category 4 with 10 to 20-foot floodwaters capable of extreme damage. but there's concern it could still become a Category 5. That's the highest on the Saffir-Simpson scale, and it could still cause officially catastrophic damage. Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, a look up the coast to Charleston, South Carolina, devastated by Hurricane Hugo 10 years ago, now hunkering down for Floyd. A look out to sea, where yet another hurricane is gathering steam. And a CBS News exclusive, how the Serbs shot down a U.S. stealth fighter during the Kosovo conflict.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
My feet are killing me.
You need new Podiasin Soak and Massage Gel. Only Podiasin dissolves in water for instant pain relief, then rubs into open pores for deep, lasting relief.
The pain is gone.
New Podiasin Soak and Massage Gel.
I went on chemo at the time my oldest daughter was getting married. We had planned everything, the fabric, the design, the whole gown. But when it was time to sew the dress, the chemo, it makes you weak. My whole life I've made clothes for other people, but for my own daughter's wedding, I was too tired to make the dress.
Are you a chemotherapy patient? Ask your doctor about Procrit. Procrit is a natural way to regain red blood cells lost during chemotherapy, and more red blood cells can mean more strength. Procrit is safe and effective. In studies, only diarrhea and edema occurred more often with Procrit than placebo. Procrit is for patients with non-myeloid cancers. Call now and learn how Procrit can help you get back the strength you need. Your strength for living.
In life, you take the bitter with the sweet, but I plan to end up with more sweet.
As we've been reporting to you, the best guess right now is that Hurricane Floyd may come ashore somewhere just to the north of here, Savannah, up near Charleston in the South Carolina line. CBS News correspondent Randall Pinkston is there, where they have a lot of memories of Hurricane Hugo.
On Charleston's historic Antiques Row, the den of buzzsaws and hammers was the only enterprise underway today.
2-inch thick boards. If the storm can get it, it can have it.
With the city emptied of tourists, the major source of income here, there was nothing for merchants to do but shut down and get out. Kimberly Clark only came to her bakery to board it up.
Listening to the weather reports and knowing the history of what Hugo did, and this being a larger storm, I felt it behooved us to close.
Hugo, the hurricane that hit South Carolina just 10 years ago this month, causing $9 billion in damage and changing the way everyone here looks at storms. You stayed for Hugo?
Precisely. 10 years ago, we didn't take it quite so seriously, but this, after seeing that aftermath, we're leaving town this time.
We had a lot of damage during Hugo.
Antique store owner John Gibson says Hugo destroyed one of his 5 stores worth $1 million. Now, with Floyd on the way, he's keeping his fingers crossed.
So we're hoping, we're praying, you know, that this thing will not do as bad as Hugo.
The walls in many of these antebellum homes are 16 inches thick. Through the decades, people have been able to sit out hurricanes and survive. But Floyd is something different. That's why roads leaving Charleston are clogged. In much of this city, when Floyd arrives, only the buildings will be here to greet him. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, Charleston.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, has set up a command post in Atlanta to plan for the cleanup and help for victims. CBS News correspondent Jeffrey Kaufman is there.
FEMA is powering up. Equipment is being mobilized. Emergency teams are scrambling so that when Floyd hits, help can follow quickly.
What we've done is we've loaded a lot of these trailers to pre-stage commodities so we can ship them directly into the disaster area immediately after the storm is lifted. This trailer is loaded with cots.
A very big building that could hold about 600 personnel.
FEMA is preparing for a storm that threatens to test this country's emergency preparedness like never before.
There is a tone and a level of a sense of urgency about this storm and a sense of need to respond fast. Very serious situation.
Usually when disaster looms, equipment and supplies are moved out of here, closer to where they'll be needed. But Floyd is expected to be so big, so destructive, that FEMA is keeping everything here, out of harm's way.
There really isn't a safe haven on the eastern seaboard, so we're leaving it here at the mobilization center in Atlanta so that we can deploy it quickly as soon as the storm lifts.
While the supplies wait, FEMA has dispatched disaster teams right up the East Coast. Once Floyd hits, they'll assess damage, and the supplies will follow. Jeffrey Kaufman, CBS News, Atlanta.
Now, keep in mind that waiting in the winds is behind Hurricane Floyd is another hurricane called Gert. It has 115-mile-an-hour winds and is still strengthening far out in the Atlantic. Gert is the fourth major hurricane of the season. I'll be back from here in Savannah later in the broadcast with some new information about Hurricane Floyd. But right now, for other news, let's go to New York and CBS News correspondent Anthony Mason. Anthony?
Thanks, Dan. We'll have news of another evacuation in a moment. This one, a flight from terror in East Timor.
You've dreamed of opening your own place. Now stay healthy and energetic and enjoy it. Give your life a silver lining with Centrum Silver. Its age-essential nutrients may help maintain your immunity and help keep your heart healthy. Give your life a silver lining with Centrum Silver.
If you wear dentures, imagine how nervous teaching teenagers could make you feel. What if your dentures slipped? But thanks to the all-day hold of Super Polygrip, those days are over. I think that says a lot about the power of Polygrip.
Why do people love squirrels but hate rats? They're both rodents, and yet the squirrel is tolerated, downright beloved. Why? Does that cute fuzzy tail make that much of a difference? Absolutely. Introducing the all-new 2000 Mitsubishi Eclipse, nicely equipped at 17.7. Further proof that looks do matter.
Knocking you flat? Try non-drowsy Allegra. Only Allegra has fexofenadine. For people 12 and over, ask your doctor or pharmacist for more information. Side effects are low and may include drowsiness, cold or flu, nausea, or menstrual pain. Allegra, so you can enjoy the world around you.
Great news for all you cats. Shock!
Marv, we can't buy this stuff ourselves.
I'm up.
The Whiskas you love in a can now comes in the new Flavor Lock pouch.
Whiskas. What cats want.
Wind tunnel by Hoover picks up more dirt than any other clean air upright. And you can get one that's self-propelled.
Police in Moscow stepped up their search today for the terrorists they say were responsible for a string of deadly bombings. They fanned out across the city demanding IDs at local markets. Officers frisked people and searched cars for explosives. Police say they've questioned 3 suspects linked to yesterday's blast at an apartment building that killed 118 people and another last week that killed 94. The UN Security Council is working to draft a resolution to send peacekeeping forces backed by U.S. support troops to East Timor. But today, the last UN staffers were fleeing East Timor, along with the civilians they had tried to protect. Alan Pizzi reports.
Under cover of darkness, the UN closed its last safe haven in East Timor. Nearly 1,500 traumatized people and aid workers who had been trapped in the UN compound were evacuated through still burning streets. From the elderly to children, none had been spared the hate and rage of the Indonesian military and militias. They arrived on military aircraft in Australia today.
Some of them are worried about people they've left behind. There was one poor man this morning who just broke down and said that his wife and 2 children were killed.
Many of the children who escaped today have chicken pox.
They're really tired. They obviously haven't slept for a long time. And it's like, wow, we're here, thank God, you know.
The UN is calling this a temporary evacuation. How temporary depends on how fast the peacekeeping mission can get into East Timor. And while everyone agrees that speed is of the essence, the timetable keeps slipping. And meanwhile, in the hills of East Timor, thousands now have no protection save a small band of guerrillas who fought for independence. The U.S. guided missile cruiser Mobile Bay has joined the Armada building to form the peacekeeping mission. But for now, its awesome firepower is at the dockside. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Darwin.
Coming up on tonight's CBS Evening News, how the plane that was supposed to be invisible was shot down by Serbia. A CBS News exclusive.
My dentures always fit fine. I never thought of them as a problem until I saw the video of my son's wedding. It was then that I decided to try Fixodent.
Because Fixodent adjusts to the unique contours of your dentures and gums, forming a thin, powerful seal for a better hold than you ever thought possible.
It was like a whole new feeling, so snug and secure. For once, I actually forgot that I even wore dentures. So now, I like what I see.
Find out for yourself what it feels like to Fixodent and forget it.
All right, kid. Here we go. 10-9. What do you got? What do you got? What? Yeah. All right, come on, come on.
What would you do if someone you loved had a heart attack?
Yeah.
Did you know it's now been proven that the same Bayer aspirin you have in your bag for muscle aches may actually help stop you from dying if you take it during a heart attack?
Downtown. Lucky shot.
Can your pain reliever do that? Talk to your doctor now.
Next time I'll go easier on you.
Bayer, powerful pain relief and so much more.
If you think St. John's Bay clothing feels good on your body, wait till you feel what it does for your head. All the pockets, zippers, and hoods you need to go gently down life's stream. St. John's Bay, only at JCPenney.
Great meal. Uh-oh, gas pressure. What now? What else? Gas X, with the most powerful medicine for fast relief. Nothing works faster. Hey, want to go for ice cream? Gas X, the power to fight gas fast.
Medicine's always changing. The managed care companies that did not change did not survive. With managed care, or HMO, health maintenance organization, the word that I think a lot of us are forgetting is that word health. Health is what it's all about. And that's what we're trained for. Prevent disease before it occurs, because if you catch it late, then you have more cost. And so you want to provide better quality to the patient initially. Preventive medicine is probably the best it's ever been.
Today's managed health care, there's a lot to feel good about.
So I like managed care because I can treat people earlier.
A mystery of the U.S.-led air war against Serbia is a mystery no more. CBS News national security correspondent David Martin has learned just how Serb forces were able to take out a $45 million plane they weren't supposed to be able to see.
It was the fourth night of the war, and disaster had struck the Allied bombing campaign. An F-117 stealth fighter, supposedly all but invisible to enemy air defenses, had been shot down. Publicly, the Pentagon claimed it didn't know how it happened. Secretly, military officers knew it was not a lucky shot. A well-informed military source tells CBS News the F-117 was tracked by 3 early warning radars. They sent their data to an SA-3 missile site which fired at the F-117 without having to turn on its own radar and give its location away until the last second. The pilot never had a chance, although he managed to bail out and was rescued.
The Pentagon immediately suspended all F-117 missions until the radars could be located and destroyed. But the radars were mobile and the Serbs kept moving them around.
2 days later, a U-2 spy plane pinpointed their location and Navy ships launched 3 cruise missiles, 1 at each radar. The radars were destroyed and it was safe for the F-117 to fly again. But military officers say the F-117s, which 8 years before had been the stars of the air war against Iraq, missed their targets dozens of times because bad weather interfered with their laser-guided bombs. One senior military officer says the F-117 is archaic and cannot be counted on to take out an enemy's most heavily defended targets until it is equipped with satellite-guided bombs. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
On the CBS Market Watch, American consumers went on a back-to-school shopping spree in August. Retail sales jumped 1.2%, the biggest gain in 6 months. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 120 points, but high-techs lifted the NASDAQ by 23. In a moment, we'll go back to Dan Rather in Savannah for more on the approach of Hurricane Floyd.
Fortunately, there's Nasonex nasal spray, an effective nasal allergy prescription medicine taken once a day to relieve nasal allergy symptoms, indoors and out. Now that's wonderful. The most common side effects were headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
Got heartburn caused by acid reflux? Only Gaviscon forms a soothing protective barrier that keeps acid down. Pepcid AC and Zantac 75 can't do that. Gaviscon, it helps keep acid down where it belongs.
I need strong arthritis relief. I want soft skin. Now I get both.
Introducing new Arthricare hand and body lotion. Fast relief of minor arthritis pain plus special skin softeners. Arthricare lotion. Pain relief plus moisturizers.
All in one.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
To update tonight and tomorrow's top story, the entire U.S. East Coast is threatened in one way or another by huge Hurricane Floyd's possible path in the days ahead. For now, millions of Americans, including residents here in coastal Savannah, Georgia, are getting out of the warning and watch zones of this hurricane. Surprise, twists, and turns, of course, are possible. To underscore that, I turn to one of the world's leading hurricane experts, Dr. Neil Frank, at KHOU in Houston.
Well, Dan, the perception on the part of people is that we're forecasting a lot better than we did, say, 10, 15 years ago. That's just not true. We're observing better through the eyes of the weather satellite and the coastal radars, but we haven't really improved that much in forecasting. So anytime you've got a hurricane paralleling the coastline, you've got a problem.
And in your own judgment, based on what you see, what's in store over the next 24 hours for the east coast of the U.S.?
Well, it does appear that this expected turn toward the northwest has occurred. Now it becomes a problem for Georgia and on up through the Carolinas.
And on a historical basis, what can this hurricane be compared to?
Well, it's interesting to know, Dan, that this area hasn't been hit by a bad hurricane, at least Georgia, this century. But if you go up in the Carolinas, of course, most recently it was Hurricane Hugo in 1989 in Charleston.
Is there any real probability that this hurricane is going to somehow yet miss land, be one of those that gets bumped out into the Atlantic?
Well, that is certainly a possibility, but that's not what we're expecting right now, and everybody in the Carolinas and Georgia had ought to be monitoring this hurricane very, very carefully.
Dr. Neil Frank in Houston, thanks. And that's part of our wind-blown world tonight. Stay with this CBS station for CBS News' traditionally strong hurricane coverage. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting from evacuated Savannah, Georgia. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News. Tonight on 60 Minutes 2, can the FBI stop an assassin before he kills again?
I'm sure he'll probably be watching this interview.
Watch for yourself tonight at 9, 8 Central.
1 minute he was racing for his country, the next he was fighting for his life. Race to freedom later on 48 Hours.
The wrath of Hurricane Floyd. Will it be worse than Hurricane Andrew? Experience CBS News.
Coming up on News Channel 5 at 6, scientific